In my opinion, this special recognition reflects the strong and growing political influence of the LGBT community. Transgendered people are a vulnerable group for sure, but in a paradoxical way, they are also very powerful. Indeed, in this bill, they have turned around an entire government, caused it to do an about-face on a policy the government has stood on principle against for years.
Member for Vancouver West End.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Can the Minister of Justice tell us why her government refuses to extend explicit human rights protections to transgender British Columbians?
Madam Attorney.
Madam Speaker, the issue of gender identity in the Human Rights Code of British Columbia is crystal clear. Our Human Rights Code protects all persons, no matter what their identity, no matter what their gender identity, which I think is the issue in question. It is crystal clear. The law is crystal clear. They are protected, Madam Speaker, and we can be proud of that in British Columbia, that our courts have been so clear about that, that we are so clear about that. The protections are there in the Human Rights Code. There is no question, Madam Speaker, that the rights of transgender people are protected in our Human Rights Code. It is crystal clear, Madam Speaker.
A controversy has erupted around the upcoming Vancouver Pride Parade. Organizers of the parade say the BC Liberals will not be allowed to participate this year because the party did not sign a pledge supporting transgender equality legislation. NDP MLA for Vancouver West End, Spencer Chandra Herbert, joins us now for more on this. Spencer, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Lee.
Thank you for being with us. Can you give us a little bit of background to the pledge that parade goers or parade participants were asked to sign?
For sure. Well, as viewers will know, Pride has been a protest and a celebration for a long time about equality for gay, lesbian, bi, and trans people. Pride this year said, well, it's time that political parties that want to use the parade to promote their party actually do something to make sure that they're in spirit with Pride. So they've called on political parties and everybody marching to pledge to support transgender equality legislation.
If they did decide they want to march, would they be welcomed back at this point?
Absolutely. If they said we're going to introduce this legislation, I would support them. I would say get in the parade. Christy Clark, thank you for admitting that you were wrong.
Transgender people have told us that they want a part of the Human Rights Code to explicitly name transgender and sexual identity as prohibited forms of discrimination. We want to make sure that they are not just protected, but that they know they're protected. And that's why we're making this change. Every British Columbia deserves the same chance to be treated as an equal.
In British Columbia, we have a Human Rights Code that ensures that no one faces discrimination based on grounds such as race, religion, place of origin, sex, or sexual orientation, amongst others. Everybody is protected, which is as it should be. However, it is important that people understand that they are protected. Every British Columbia needs to feel protected and have confidence in that protection, no matter their gender identity or expression. So earlier today, I met with my legislative colleague, Vancouver West End MLA Spencer Chandra Herbert, to alert him to the changes we are proposing and let him know it is our intention to introduce a bill on this issue when the legislature resumes next week. The proposed changes will specifically include gender identity or expression among the protected grounds of discrimination in British Columbia's Human Rights Code. So, for example, a landlord may not refuse a tenancy to a transgender person. An employer may not fire someone because they're transgender. It is those kinds of discrimination which need to be protected against in British Columbia, and all British Columbians need to know that that kind of discrimination is not acceptable and is not permitted under our Human Rights Code.
Thank you, Minister Anton. It's been a long road, but we're getting there. And when the introduction of the legislation finally occurs, we will finally see
explicit protections for transgender people in BC's Human Rights Code and join with most of Canada in ensuring that transgender people know that their rights are protected in law, in name, and right there on the paper.
It's my job as Attorney General, and it is government's job, to ensure that all British Columbians are not only protected from discrimination, but they know they are protected and they feel they are protected, and our changes to the Human Rights Code will do that. Thank you very much. And I recognize, as I said a moment ago, that transgender people do face difficulties, but one of them is not the Human Rights Code of British Columbia.
They have turned around an entire government, caused it to do an about-face on a policy the government has stood on principle against for years.